Like, I don't like just running over animals, but listen, if it's the bird in the truck's gonna win. You know?
I just wonder what he was thinking.
Yeah. I think it was on an animal.
You scared it.
Maybe it thought I was like, a
predator.
massive predator, the biggest black bear of all time. It was a full-size truck.
I think there's bigger bears, but
Then the truck?
maybe.
You think?
I've never seen a bear up close.
How big do you think bears are?
They've got to be big.
No, they're not.
I've seen bears on tape.
They're not that big.
I mean, you see them in movies. They're big.
What are we doing?
What are we doing? What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Not spilling cheer wine.
Sorry.
Hey, you're fine.
Not spilling cheer wine.
It is part of what we're doing.
Number
2.
What are we doing? Number 2.
Mm-hmm.
How's your week?
Fighting a cold. That's what I'm doing currently.
Winning?
Fighting a cold. Well, I'm upright today.
It's true. You were not upright the other day.
Forgive me if I cough a little bit, hack, and all that good stuff.
That's real life.
It is real life. It is. Started with my kids.
Yeah. That's also real life. That's exactly how it goes.
It went from kid to kid to kid. Joanna got it a little bit, and then I got it. And
it is one of the detriments of living in the same household as your family.
Well, it's not a detriment.
Well, just saying, there's very few cons. One of them is that when one person gets sick,
just everybody
probably all gonna get it.
Just drink from the same cup, and everybody gets sick at the same time together.
It's true. At least you knock it all out at once.
Yeah, I am not a good sick person though. Like I don't.
Not good at being sick.
If I get a cold, it's.
Are you one of the guys they make all the jokes about,
yes,
like the man cold
it's
thing?
Me. It's it. It's the end of the world. I try to tough it out, but I just ain't that tough when it comes to that. So I end up sleeping all day.
Yeah, well,
which is what doctors say.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's what Jesus says.
To rest.
Go get some rest. Lay down.
He says
get some rest.
I don't know if that was with sickness or just with being
It's
busy
still good
all
advice,
the time.
though.
Oh, it's great advice. Jesus is the best advice giver.
Yeah. You talked a little bit about it. You kind of mentioned it on Sunday, like.
Yeah, Sunday.
8 hours.
8 hours of sleep.
Like you should get that.
You should.
And everybody laughed because almost nobody does
50.
that.
You have 168 hours in a week, and 56 are supposed to be devoted to sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not sleeping 8 hours a night, like figure it out.
Yeah.
Get you a MyPillow.
MyPillow?
Yeah, you ever seen one of those
I don't know
guys?
what that is. Is that like a sleep number pillow?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I just know that I've heard it's called a MyPillow.
Okay.
It's like a cube.
Mm-hmm.
Or you get there's all kind of pillow commercials now. Get you a bamboo one.
Yeah.
Or
who wants a bamboo pillow?
I mean,
also, do we have that much bamboo sitting around that we need to start making pillows out of? What's wrong with cotton? What's wrong with like the memory foam gel, whatever stuff?
So there's a lot with memory foam that's wrong.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it's
but
not.
Let's not get into that.
Oh, okay.
It's just got chemicals and stuff.
Oh, okay,
it's
gotcha.
not good for you to breathe and sit on. But that's what my whole bed's made out of. So I don't know how great it is to lay on.
Yeah. Well, you know.
Yeah, listen, when you start going down rabbit holes of like learning things.
Some things are good to learn.
Some things are.
Sometimes you wish you didn't learn stuff.
Right. Like, who would have known Doritos had so many chemicals that are banned substances?
Listen,
in
my whole
countries.
From 11
Mountain Dew
to 22.
Yeah.
I basically was fueled by Doritos.
Yeah, me too.
And
they were different though.
Were they?
They were different Doritos.
Or did we just learn?
I don't know. I think they were different. I know Oreos were different because they don't taste the same.
Yeah. I haven't had an Oreo in a while.
Reese Cups don't taste the same. Butterfingers don't taste the same. Butterfinger, when Bart Simpson promoted it, different taste than Butterfinger now that nobody ever talks about it.
Do you think maybe that's because after like all the hot chip like challenges you did, you burned your taste buds
I've only
off
ever done one hot chip challenge, and it melted my face.
Or wings or whatever. You've done hot wings.
I've done hot wings.
All the stuff.
I've done hot food most of my life.
See, I think that's where it's coming from.
I don't think so.
Burned off all your taste buds.
Could have.
Yeah. I had something weird happen to me this week. I meant to tell you this the other day. Driving here, I forget whatever the road is. Where right over here. Not Bringle Fair. The one turn left, like right out of here. There's a house right there, and you turn left on it.
Agner.
To go into Agner. That one. Mm-hmm. Coming up Agner. There's a hawk in the ditch.
Like American Eagle?
No, like a hawk.
Well, same thing. Aren't they the same? They're both they're in the same family.
Yeah, yes.
AJ Hawk.
They're both birds. Yeah, yes, right.
AJ Hawk's in the middle of the road.
Right. No, this is an actual bird, not a guy.
Too bad.
But it's in the ditch. I'm driving. The hawk, takes off, starts racing the truck.
Nice.
Then swoops in front and literally slows down. So I had to slam on my brakes to try to not kill a hawk.
Take that.
It still hit it a little bit, but it was fine. It flew off. I think it's probably fine.
I didn't see it in the road.
But it was bizarre. I was like,
what was he doing?
That's listen, I don't like just running over animals, but listen, if it's the bird in the truck's gonna win.
I just wonder what he was thinking.
Yeah. I think it was on an animal.
You scared it.
Maybe it thought I was a
predator.
massive predator, the biggest black bear of all time. It was a full-size truck.
I think there's bigger bears, but
then the truck?
Maybe.
You think?
I've never seen a bear up close.
How big do you think bears are?
They've got to be big.
No, they're not.
I've seen bears on tape.
They're not that big.
I mean, you see them in movies. They're big.
Yes, they are big.
I remember growing up. Golly.
I hope I never see a bear that big.
Dan Aykroyd and John Candy made a movie where they rented a cabin for their family, and there was a grizzly bear that came in, and one of the lamps was like an old shotgun. And John Candy grabs this shotgun lamp.
What movie is this?
Man, I think it's called The Great Outdoors or something.
Just FYI, something you can learn. Anytime you hear about Matt referring to who the Google guy is, it's me.
This is Jeremiah. And John Candy shot this bear in the butt. And it was one of the funniest things that I remember as a kid.
Yeah, The Great Outdoors.
I'm telling you, bro.
That's old school.
You got, probably not with kids. I would say any movie with those two in it's not a kid movie to watch.
They're funny.
But my parents let me watch it. Shout out Steve and Donna. We were different people back then. You know what I mean?
No, it was the 80s, the 90s, or whatever.
The early 90s,
probably.
Yeah. And anyway, so bears are big, but I mean, grizzly bear's pretty big guy. It's bigger than your truck.
No.
Bet $1. Weighs more.
No.
Do it. Look it up. Does a grizzly bear weigh more than a truck?
You have a inflated sense of.
I don't think so. How big is the biggest bear?
Grizzly bear weigh more
It's
than
like
a truck.
Dwight Schrute right now. Question: does a brown bear? Bears, Battlestar Galactica beats. What are you doing?
Grizzly bear. I'm Googling grizzly
bear. No.
weights.
I'm saying that's what Dwight said in the show.
So adult male grizzly bears typically weigh between 400 and 600 pounds.
Yeah, that's as much as your truck.
Let's see what a Chevy Silverado full truck.
Texas edition.
It weighs 4,400 to 5,000 pounds.
Relative, same pounds.
So only 10 times.
Same pounds. It's the same. So it's 2 bears.
It's 10 bears. 400 times 10 is 4,000.
Not a numbers guy.
Well,
no.
Here we are.
Yeah, here we are. So
we learned a lot about
grizzly bears are just as big as trucks, is what.
All that said, the hawk was willing to attack my truck.
Yeah.
Though. I was impressed by the just
sheer veracity.
Right. Like he didn't think about it.
Boldness.
Like, listen, I got this.
Boldness.
I'm also glad it didn't scratch up the truck.
I'm telling you.
I was a little concerned for a minute.
That'd have been wild.
Yeah. Anyway, that happened this week.
Yeah, you gotta carefully determine your choice there. As a hawk, what a story that would have been though if you'd have showed up with a hawk as your
stuck in the grill of my truck.
Grill.
Explain that one.
That'd have been awesome.
It's a good sermon illustration somehow.
I don't know, but
of some kind.
Yeah.
I don't know what sermon that fits in, but Maybe boldness.
There's so many other.
Because boldness looks like stupidity sometimes.
Boldness is more like a squirrel. You know what I mean? Trying to cross the street. That's bold.
That's pure terrible decision making.
No, it's indecision, but it's
because they jump out in there. They wait for the car to come.
Think about the confidence they have.
There's got to be some science in there. Like,
well,
why
they know
do
that you're gonna
little
swerve.
animals wait till you're right there?
They're
jump out in the road and like
because they know you're gonna swerve.
Dude, when I was like 16, 17.
Yep. Here we go. Did you run over a bunny rabbit?
Not a bunny rabbit, it's a raccoon. But this is a big raccoon. But it came out into the road and just sitting there in the middle. Wasn't gonna get hit. Like was gonna like do between the tires deal. Like it would have been fine.
It was fine.
As I come up on it though, thing like rears up like this and looks. I swear it looked like right at me.
Yeah.
And just
that was great.
Yeah.
First time I ran over.
That was a bad one.
First time I ran over an animal. We had just moved to Concord. My mom and dad, and me and my brother.
Yeah.
And I had my bike. I was riding my bike, and we have this big hill.
Ran over an animal on your bike.
In the neighborhood. And this is how tenderhearted I was. Right?
Riding over an animal on a bike's different.
The Lord is restoring compassion.
Praise God.
As I've gotten older, I can cry at the drop of a pin. But I was riding my bike in the neighborhood, and a bunny rabbit just shot out in front of me. And I hit it, and it broke its little back. And so, like, he didn't die.
Oh, that's worse.
Right. So then you got to go through the whole, like...
Now I got to actually kill this animal.
Yeah, I didn't do it. I went and got my dad and cried.
Well, yeah, because you're a kid.
Yeah, I was like, I killed it. He's like, what did you kill? I said, it's a bunny rabbit. And that was the whole thing. I cried. I was scarred from that. Quit riding a bike for a while. Yeah.
A little PTSD in the bike riding.
I did. I forgot how to ride a bike.
Yeah.
Actually. Yep.
You got to relearn.
I had to relearn. I was taught by Jordan Mamano how to ride a bike right there in the parking lot.
Shout out Jordan.
And Matt
for getting
Obrowski.
a grown man to
relearn how to bike. Yeah, that was wild. Wild time. Running over animals. Yeah, but see, like, part of that is like, we're given dominion over animals.
Yeah.
And if they get in the way, right?
You know, the dumbest thing that's ever happened with an animal.
Swerving?
No.
Oh.
So this was back, this is when I was in college, driving home from college one year. Okay. We had just stopped at Dairy Queen for dinner.
Yep.
Getting ready to jump in, get on the freeway again to rest of the trip home.
Dairy Queen for dinner?
Yeah, it was like, we were in the middle of nowhere. It was like Kentucky. It was like the only thing like close to the
Just going to get a blizzard and hit the road?
No, they had burgers. Listen, hey, 19.
Do your thing.
You eat anything
go ahead.
if it's edible.
Don't think I've ever ate burger from Dairy Queen.
No, it was decent back then.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's like Cookout now, I guess.
Probably. I haven't been to Cookout in a long time. Stopped at a stop sign. Get ready to turn.
Yep.
Dairy Queen's over there.
Yeah.
There's a little woods over here. Deer.
Just chilling.
No. Comes flying up out of the woods. Runs straight into the side of my Jeep. I'm stopped sitting there.
Not doing anything. Minding your own business.
Bright red. Like, there's a street light. It's like right there.
Yeah.
Comes up, bang, slams into the back door.
Yeah. Dented it.
Caved it in.
Oh.
Bad.
Big boy.
Turns around, slams into the front side
Nice.
of the passenger seat.
That's good.
So both doors caved in.
Nice.
And then it took off back into the woods again.
Didn't even hurt it.
I was so mad. You come out of the woods, ruin both of my doors. It bent the frame on the one.
Messed your car up.
It's not like it just dented it. Like we had to replace the whole door.
Yeah.
I was so mad. And it didn't die or anything. Like there's no retribution.
No, speaking of no
terrible.
retribution, you ever backed into your own vehicle?
No.
Yeah, I did. I
don't think I've ever done that.
Sunday morning, I was on the way to church, and I was backing up. And, I backed into Joanna's car, messed up the bumper. So at 6:15 in the morning, I'm like,
dang it.
Man, I gotta tell my wife that I messed up the bumper.
Oh.
So it's freezing cold, and I'm trying to like pop what I can back in. So if you know how to fix a bumper on a Honda Odyssey, just let me know.
Yeah, it'd be
I'll,
good. Oof, man, that's tough.
I guess I'm an animal, right?
Yeah.
So animals do silly things
Yeah.
sometimes. But I couldn't see the car, and so
That happens. Driving's hard.
yeah, especially with
Right, Ryan? Driving's hard, right?
like when there's frost on your mirrors, you should wipe it off before you start driving.
Yes.
That's a rule
Yes.
that people.
So there's this thing right now. I've seen it online multiple times. All these mechanic guys like making fun of people for warming up their cars before they go places.
Yeah.
It's not gonna make your engine work any better. Da da da.
Yeah, but you can. See.
I ain't worried about my engine.
I want to see.
Yeah, I don't want my hands to freeze when I touch the steering wheel.
Yeah, that's
and I
a
want to
thing, too.
actually be able to see out the windshield.
Yeah, because we ain't putting gloves on.
Yeah.
I'm too. Listen, I'm too manly. For
I don't
that.
think I own gloves like that. That are mine at this point. My children own many pairs of gloves. They own many half pairs of gloves.
Yeah, that's true. Too.
Where it's like
You still got
black
the
one and a
finger.
blue one. And
Oh, okay. I thought
Yeah.
you meant like the finger.
oh no, like it's like socks. They
Right,
magically
powerlifting.
disappear somewhere.
Bro, the washing machine and dryer eat them.
Yeah, it's something. It's like there's.
We had to throw out socks because we didn't have matches for them.
Where do they go?
And I had a pair of Ninja Turtle socks, like just a Michelangelo. And it's like, well,
Where'd Mikey go?
Where'd he go? Where'd this party animal go? He's probably in the dryer.
It's up in like the lit thing, just in there somewhere.
Just chilling.
There's just a pile of them somewhere.
Yeah, that's wild though. Yeah.
Well,
Wow, what an amazing
what a left turn there.
what an amazing Hulk story.
This is
This is
what happens.
I want to know what in the world was he thinking?
I was annoyed.
Why though? Because he slowed down.
Well, no, because like one, like I
You
really
have road
didn't want-
rage.
No, I don't have.
You got mad at a Hulk that slowed you down.
No, I had to slam on my brakes to not hit it.
He cut you off.
Like, what
Just
are
like
you
an old
doing?
grandma
Yes,
at Walmart.
but it was literally like, what are you doing?
Shout
What
out
are we
to all
doing?
the-
What are you doing?
Shout out to all the grannies out there that go to Walmart still.
Yeah, that's part of why I don't go to Walmart.
We love you.
Not
though.
the grannies, just drivers in
Yeah,
general.
yeah,
out there.
drivers.
We like back. We bought
Hot
a
take.
Honda Civic when we first got married.
I feel like everybody in the world has owned a Honda
It's a
Civic.
good car. It's a great car.
Great car.
My wife, we had it for less than 2 weeks.
Oh,
Wife took it to Walmart, parked all by herself. Somebody decided to park right next to her.
Yeah. By the way, Chambers family, notorious for first parking spot they see, they're parking at it. So you're walking a half a mile wherever you go.
Listen,
And it's okay. There's scientific proof
There
that,
is.
that back this up somehow.
yes, people who park in the nearest available spot compared to people who find the closest spot
I hear you.
to the place
Look, we've debated
save
this.
years off of their life.
I don't debate many things, but we have debated this.
Y'all tell us, are you a parker close to the place guy?
Yeah.
Or girl? Or are you listen, we're here,
first
pull
spot
in.
you see.
We're walking 100 yards and be all right.
See, I think depends on how fast you walk. So you got
Well, that's
long
true.
legs.
I do
so
have
you
long
walk
legs.
faster.
It takes you like 1.5 steps.
For your 10,000
Yeah.
steps, I'm taking 15. You know what I mean?
That's
like,
good.
it's not fair.
It's keeping you healthy.
Sure.
Gets your steps up.
I'm a healthy boy.
My wife has the same complaint though. Like,
Yeah.
she's like 5'3". You know, it's a big difference between her stride and my stride.
It's true.
So she's a power walker.
So you gotta think about
by,
it. You gotta think
Yeah.
about stuff like that. But hey, choosing a parking spot furthest away at concerts is a good idea.
Absolutely.
Your first one.
I'm
out.
I'm gonna get out of there.
Are you a
before it
leave it
ends.
early?
Yeah.
Are you a leave it early guy
Yeah.
for
and
the
like
concert?
if we can get away with it, absolutely.
Yeah, but what if it's like the best person? You still
I'll
leaving
wait.
early?
If I'm like a huge fan,
Yeah.
I'll wait then.
Give me like a huge fan. Skillet, you staying?
Not now.
Well, they're the last one at Winter Jam this
Yeah,
year.
now we're leaving early. Like, all right, guys, they're playing.
They're playing Feel Like a Monster. again
Monsters.
for the-
Time to
Yeah.
roll. Let's go. We're not hanging out for an hour and a half in the parking lot.
Gosh, sometimes though on youth trips, that's the funnest time.
Sometimes.
Most of the times it's not.
Sometimes it's, hey, shut up.
Most of the time, that's when you put Dan in charge.
You should. That's right. Let's go,
you
Dan.
You drove your own car. Dan, you're in charge. The kids are gonna be with you. I'm leaving early.
Can't abuse volunteers like that.
No, that would be terrible. But Dan will drive the bus for you.
He would do it.
Oh yeah, no, he
But
has.
I couldn't do it.
Listen.
Just leaving him hang out to dry.
So
it's terrible.
Let's break the fifth wall here.
Yeah.
I do not like driving. I don't think people believe.
True story.
I don't think people believe that.
My secondary job here is close to my primary job. It's to chauffeur us
Don't
around.
say it that way. Don't say it that way. It's not just chauffeur. That is
I said
not
us
true.
around.
Okay, but when you use the word chauffeur, that's very directed. I don't think that's it. But
Drive us around.
to drive us around
to all the places.
All the places we go.
But here's the thing.
Man, I don't have a car.
Well,
Let's be real.
it's fair. And I like to drive. I don't mind not driving.
Listen.
Or I don't mind driving.
If it's you and Kim, who drives?
Me all the time.
All the time.
She
Kim doesn't
every-
even have a chance.
Every now and then I'll be like, hey, you mind driving? Usually
my
if I'm
gosh.
tired or it's been a long day or whatever. But yeah.
I
always
am
drive.
notorious, unless it's at night, I am notorious for just asking Joanna, please, will you please drive? I just don't like
Does she
driving.
like to drive?
I don't know. She does it.
Joanna, do you like to drive?
I think she does. She does a good job.
Well, hey,
She's never backed into a car in the driveway. That's good.
She's one up, right?
You know what I mean? Like,
It is funny.
But I'm not a driving guy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit in the front, shoot the breeze with you, guy.
Yeah.
Right? But usually people, and this is just what I've learned, people who like to drive like that control.
True. It's a true
Right?
story.
Like-
yes. Absolutely. Yeah.
Not that I don't like being in control of things, but like I don't feel a need to
That's not a big deal for you. Yeah.
No, it's really not.
Yeah, I mean, it's I'm okay with I'm not like, oh my gosh, nobody else can drive me thing.
Yeah.
But I like driving. That doesn't,
Yeah.
it doesn't bother me.
Like I never want to, and I'm a conversation guy.
Yeah.
So like if I'm driving, the conversation usually takes precedent anyway. So like I would
true.
rather somebody else drive so I can conversate.
Actually, part of the idea, maybe we'll do this sometime. One of the ideas for this podcast
Came from a car ride.
was to put camera in the car
and just drive.
just while we're driving,
I
because
remember
that's where
that.
some of our best conversations come from. We should do that one of these times.
Gosh, yeah.
It's true though.
I remember
it's
that
some of the
day,
best
though. That
stuff
was-
that we.
that was a
that we get
conversation
to.
just for the car.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Not all of the conversations.
No,
Hot take: not everything needs to be on the internet.
no, hot take. Not everything.
It's not a hot take.
Not everything needs to go outside of what you say in the car.
Oh.
Good gravy.
Yeah,
Miss
that's,
Maybe.
that's true.
Look, I learned one time.
Sometimes when
I
a
asked-
hawk pulls out in front of you.
Oh my gosh, you might say something you don't want the preacher to hear.
What?
We're all human.
It's true.
What in the
true.
world is
What is
Hawk
going on?
What are you doing, Hawk?
Mm-hmm.
I had a pastor friend of mine tell me one time. I said, "Man, do you ever just lose it?"
Mm.
And he said, "Yeah. Every time I'm in my car, I have the best conversations with certain people in my car because they'll never hear it." And I was like,
Because they will never.
it's
It's a very one-sided conversation.
yeah, you can say what you want to,
That's funny.
and they're not going to be able to respond.
And we talked a little bit about this the other day. Like, there's a balance. This starts getting into more like real or serious stuff or whatever. But we were talking the other day, and sometimes like you hear about negative things people say or whatever.
Oh, man. Yep.
But there is a reality to sometimes you need to vent. Sometimes you need to get things off your
Well-
chest. You're frustrated or you're whatever, right? And sometimes those things need to get out so they don't live inside you and create a bitterness or take a hold or
Right.
whatever, right? But then, if that starts living outside, well, now you've created something else.
Well, you got to keep checks and balances, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm a big proponent, and you've heard me say this, I think just today. You got to have 3 different types of friends in your life. You got to
Yeah.
have a friend that you can confide in, you can tell stuff to. The Bible says that you should confess your sins one to another.
Mm-hmm.
That way healing can happen. I think the friend that you can confide in is somebody that you can go to and say, man, this is where I've jacked up. And in a lot of ways, that's how we are for each other. Is, man, this, you know, I didn't do too well here, and I've done this to you. Hey, man, I wasn't able to see my family as much last week as I probably needed to or would like to.
Yeah.
And then you would come back and say, well, here's some action steps this week so that you can do that. Just things like that. So you got that friend you confide in. And two, like with a lot of stuff that you stroke, there is a huge spider. I was wondering what that thing is.
Where?
Up on the wall, in the shadow now. It's
Oh, yeah.
literally gravitated up. ADD moment. Anyway, friend you can confide in.
I thought it was like coming down.
No, man.
But it's up there
If
on
it
the
was
wall.
coming down, I'd have punched it.
Just throw in stuff.
I'm not gonna say it was a tarantula, but it was.
Nah,
it was
there's
big
some
enough,
crazy wolf spiders in this
It was
building.
big
Them
enough
big
for
ones.
me to see.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that friend you can confide
His
in. and
friends
that's-
with the hawk. He was like, hey,
yeah,
talk
he was.
about it.
No,
Anyway.
the hawk was coming for that guy.
That's true.
But a friend that you can confide in also is
Yeah.
like somebody who you can talk about the struggles and the stuff that doesn't need to get out to everybody. But then you gotta have the other two friends. You gotta have a friend that you can call at 3 a.m. and no matter what, they're gonna
Show
be
up.
there for you.
Yep.
And a lot of times, the friend you can confide in and this friend are different people. Even though they may operate in the same way sometimes, but the friend at 3 a.m. is just, for me, it's a guy named Hunter who we
No
might
questions
not.
asked guy. Just,
Nope.
Yep.
If I call him and say, hey, man, I need you to come, bro, he is Johnny on the spot
Absolutely. Yep.
right there. And then, the third friend you need is somebody that you can just go and cut up and be funny. And,
Yeah.
like,
Enjoy time together.
enjoy time together. And
Yeah.
all three of those friends you're going to be able to enjoy time with. But
Right.
that friend is, it's that friend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, and Jesus kind of demonstrates that in the disciples. He had three friends, Peter, James, and John, that were kind of his inner circle. That's why I say you need three really, really close friends. But man, that friend that you can confide in is somebody who can get in your grill, who can fuss at you, who can tell you you are screwing up, you need to do better, you need to do this, and you're gonna listen to them,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yep.
something very serious that I had to change was something that you told me. Like, hey man, if you don't correct the allowance of a boundary that has
Yeah.
kind of been broken with, and it how do I say it? It was about how people had so much access
Yeah. Yeah.
to me
Yeah.
and the need that I have in my life to respond quickly
Yeah.
and to make sure that it's almost an unhealthy thing that I do sometimes, where I believe that people rely on me so much that I've got to.
Well, and this is,
Now we're really getting into it.
yeah, well, you
but-
could say this is a hot take, but here's the reality. We all only have 100% of ourselves, right?
That's it. Yeah.
And I've long been, and I've challenged many men along the way, and I've given sermons on this. I've come after my friends on this. I've pushed people. And that is that we as men so often give away the best part of ourselves to everybody else.
Yep. That's exactly what you told me.
Before our wife, before our kids.
Yep.
Like the people that should be the highest priority and get the best versions of us, get the worst version of us.
Yeah.
Because we give away all the rest of it to everybody else. And I know this, like as a pastor, this is not necessarily what people would expect.
Yeah.
Listen, we love all of
Everybody.
y'all so much. I don't love any one of y'all more than my wife and my children. That's
Very
just
true.
the reality. Like,
Well,
and I would never apologize for that. And here's the thing. If you want a healthy pastor, if you want healthy leaders in your life, that should also be a priority, right?
Right.
And then the relationships between pastors and people grow correctly.
Yeah.
Because there's health involved in all
health
ways.
involved. And I think a lot of times people only value your time the way that they want to value your time.
Sure. I mean,
Right.
we do that to other people all the time, right? We only have our perspective.
Yeah.
It's our first thought is, how do I experience whatever
Well, and it
situation
took me a long time to come to the terms of, sorry, you know, I have multiple kids, and
Yeah.
each of those kids are only going to be who they are at their age one time.
We just talked about this. Time is wild, man. It goes so fast.
And so, you know, being in a blended family and having 4 children that live with me full time, I know what the effects of not being there had caused previously in my first marriage, where my son, not always being there for him, and you know, I missed, you know, birthdays and Valentine's days and things that are milestones for certain people. And you know, for me, I've always looked at holidays and birthdays a little differently, just because I'm a different kind of person. But that's the truth.
Yeah,
man,
absolutely.
You know? Like, and I was also justifying, like, well, I'm, you know, taking a mission trip. That's why I'm gonna be gone these days. And I'm doing this thing. That's why I'm gonna be gone that day. But it really can. You don't get that back. Right. Like with my son Josiah, I don't get his second birthday back.
Nope, that happens once.
Yeah. With, you know, Zion, Josie, and the twins are about to turn 1. I'm not missing their birthday.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not missing any birthday.
Yeah.
Now. Well, let's be real. I would rather be famous at home, and everybody's gonna hear this in a couple weeks. The biggest priority in my life is to be famous at home.
Yep.
If I can be a good husband and a good dad, I'm gonna be all right at being a pastor.
You'll do very well. Yep.
Because there's a lot of pastors who I have watched sacrifice their family. And they're really good at being there for everybody else.
Absolutely.
They're really good at exegetically preaching a message. They're really good at giving wise counsel. But they're really bad at home. And I've been on that side.
And this is not to cast aspersions or judgment or whatever on anybody, but here's the reality. You look, especially at we live in a day and age where pastors, man, it feels like you turn around and another one
bites the dust,
falling off, right?
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, like, good husbands don't cheat on their wives.
No.
Right?
Exactly.
Like, you know, good dads don't ignore their children.
No.
And don't get caught up in stuff. And
you do your best.
And if you have your priorities straight of worshiping God and taking care of your family, and then pastoring, and we're, like I said, we're getting into all sorts of stuff now, but this is important. And it's imperative to your ability to minister long term, because of the pressure, because of the time.
Bro, you're nailing
People do need the time. People do need your heart. People do need your ministry. They need all those things. But if you're not ministering to those people first, to your wife, to your kids, to whoever, you know.
Well, there's no way. If you yourself are not healthy, there's no way you're gonna help other people be healthy.
No, it just doesn't.
All you're gonna do is bleed on people who didn't cut you.
That's man. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And for me, I've made a promise a long time ago to myself that I'm not gonna bleed on people who didn't cut me.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm gonna be the healthiest version that I can be of myself. I'm gonna be a good husband. I'm gonna be a good dad.
Yeah.
Because I do those two things, I'm gonna be a good pastor. I'm gonna be faithful to what Jesus called me to.
Yeah.
He called me to lead well.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing that I get to lead well is my family.
Yeah, and that's it. You get to lead them first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, it's hard to lead them when you have, you know, so many people who call on you, and man, like, sometimes, and it's things that I know about ministry, but like sometimes I don't want to pray for your cat. Especially your cat.
If that was your hawk, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I
didn't mean to.
You know what I mean?
No, I do.
And it's not because I'm not compassionate. It's just call me or message us, and it's not even just us. It's just I'm hearing stuff, you know, outside of here.
Yeah.
But like the real People know this about me. I'll be the first one to jump into
Oh, absolutely.
a ditch and try and do whatever you need me to do to get you out of it.
Absolutely,
I will put you on my back. I'll carry you. I'll point you to the right direction.
Yeah. Somebody sent us a GIF the other day, tagged us in it, or whatever, you and I. And it was like, and it said something about another day in ministry, and the video was like of a goat trying to like dive into a furnace.
Yeah,
and somebody's like grabbing the legs and pulling it out.
Yeah, that's it.
Some days it's like that.
Yeah,
right. And that's
I'll
part of the
gladly
deal.
do that.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it.
But there, if I'm gonna do that for you, you better believe before I ever do that for you, I'm gonna protect my family. From even getting to that.
That's right. And we can't end up being that one.
Yeah,
and that's really what it goes into more than. If I end up being the guy diving head first into the furnace, then we got like real problems, and that's all gonna cascade down. Yeah, right. And then
everything stems from the top down. Yeah, right. And as far as church world, leadership world, stuff stems from the top, and so goes the leadership. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you can walk into a church, and this is why I'm so grateful for our little spot here in Rowan County Lake Community Church. You can walk into a church and tell a lot about who the leaders are.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
If you walk in and that church is cold, good chance. Good, not cold, like, not cold that the heat is out, guys. Not cold because of that. But we apologize. We are working to get the heat on.
We prefer the heat to be on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's our strong preference.
Sunday was a fluke, and we apologize. But when you walk in and the people aren't talking to you, they're not helping you, they're not pointing you in the right directions.
Cold in heart, in nature.
Yep. Then guess what, man? The leadership, the pastors of that church, they're probably going to be the same way.
Yeah. And, by the way, that usually stems from overextending.
Being overwhelmed.
Leading out of emptiness. And you don't have any more to give.
Yeah.
Because you weren't protecting your health, your boundary, and the spiritual health, mental health, emotional health, physical health, all those things. And that was never a priority.
Yeah.
So everything degrades.
Right.
Because of that. Yeah.
Well, and hopefully, and that's why I was going to say, I'm so grateful for this place, because when you walk in, you get a good sense of who we are.
Yeah.
Me, you, Matt Whitley, Roxy, Pastor Ronnie. Like, you get a good sense.
Yeah.
Of who we are.
And that's the reality. If you come in here during the week, whoever's in here is like, hey,
we're gonna talk.
So glad you're here.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're gonna carve out time.
And
we just did it with the guy who was checking the heat.
Brett, shout out to Brett.
Yeah, thank you.
But we get the same thing back though. Like when I come in on Sunday and our volunteers or whoever is here at like 6:30 in the morning, Shane's up here. It's a hey, good morning. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're here again. Like,
but it's because we're healthy.
That's what I'm saying. It's the community all benefits from that mentality.
I think one thing that gets neglected so much is talking about spiritual health.
Yeah.
Which is why we as a church are going through the holy habits.
We talk about spiritual in the Big C Church, right? We use the words discipleship and spiritual growth a lot.
Yeah.
We do not refer to it as spiritual health very often. And I think that's because
because we're so focused on grow.
But growth is there's not a negative connotation. When you say growth, it's, I got this far, so even if I'm doing better, that's okay, I got this far. Yeah. When you say spiritual health, it's, I was healthy, I am now sick.
Yeah. Well,
there's an up and down to that.
Health is about maintaining.
And that's the difference, and that's why we don't use it. I think, this is just purely speculation. But
we're geniuses, so.
Hot take.
No, it's probably a cooler take.
Oh, yeah. No geniuses.
We ain't got nothing figured out.
But it does not. I was just talking to our kids about this last night. Like, to stay healthy physically actually isn't that complicated.
Yeah.
Every doctor tells you, eat white, sleep, exercise, and sleep. Right. Yeah. That's it. It's all you got to do. Why is it so hard to do?
Put your phone down.
I mean, it's not hard stuff. you have to commit to it and do it all the time.
It's discipline stuff.
It's discipline, and spiritual health is exactly the same way.
Yeah.
Exactly the same. It's based. It's why. Well, it's going to sound self-serving, but it's exactly why we're doing this habit series. It's why we're doing the habit series with our students.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, it gets ignored.
Yeah.
All the
it
time.
does. Well, I mean, it goes into if you're not taught these things,
Yeah.
you're never gonna know that they're good. If
Why
you're
would
not,
you do it? Yeah.
if you're not taught boundaries,
Yeah.
then you're never gonna know that boundaries are good for you.
Yeah.
If you're not taught to put your phone down,
Yep.
then you're never gonna know that putting your phone down is good for you.
Yeah. You're going to tend toward
If
the negative.
and like you said, being healthy really is about discipline.
Yeah.
And so, you know, there's a verse that I've been staring at just for the last few minutes because randomly I opened up. But it's in Ephesians 6. It says, "Parents, do not provoke your children to anger by the way you treat them. Rather, bring them up with discipline and instruction that comes from the Lord." Right? Like,
And that's not an excuse to beat your kids.
no.
You know,
No.
that's not the discipline that verse is talking about. It's to raise your kids with the discipline of doing right, of
Yeah.
pleasing God,
Absolutely.
of grace, of mercy, of forgiveness, of obedience, of the fruit of the Spirit, of
Yeah.
all those things. That being constantly present in your life.
Yeah.
Don't provoke your kids to anger. Don't scream at your kids. Don't
Yeah, don't
No.
push their buttons because it's fun.
Yeah. Teach them the ways
Yeah.
of the Lord. If we parented our kids the way God parents us, I think our parenthood would generally change quite a bit.
Yeah.
Like the amount of forgiveness, the amount of mercy, the amount of grace, the amount of patience, the amount of constant love.
Yeah.
Like,
Coming through the pipe.
yeah,
Right?
always. Constant. There, and it's never question.
Yeah, no.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So like, but it gets you into this mindset of discipline, right?
Yeah.
So when you begin to get disciplined in something and it becomes something that is healthy, once you establish healthy, you don't want to go back.
Right.
to
Because you start
unhealthy.
seeing the healthy results.
Well, you see,
And everything gets better.
case in point, the boundary that you told me that needed to get set up, and then through many
Yeah,
conversations and stuff, it got set up.
Yeah.
The health that has come from it is not just visible to me and my family, but it's visible from
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
and other people
Yep.
who are like, man, it's just, you can tell that this has helped be able to do these things.
Yep.
Right? Because I was so overwhelmed with certain things and working in certain things that other things were
Yeah.
now because time,
Yep.
right? Your time was being
It's fleeting, and you don't get it back.
yeah.
Yeah.
And again, like for me, how am I ever gonna teach my children? Right? If I'm a parent, so
Right.
how am I ever gonna teach my children if my time is being taken from me to teach other people only
Yeah.
the disciplines of the Lord?
Yeah.
Well, like, no, it's backwards. I gotta start with my family. Titus talks about it.
Yep.
Hey, make sure that a man of God loves his family, is with his family, is teaching his family, right?
Yeah. You want to know what kind of pastor he's going to be.
Look at the family.
How does he lead his wife? How does he lead his kids? Is it
Right.
with grace? Is it with submission? Is
Yeah.
it with humility?
Right.
Is it with wisdom? Is it with
Yeah.
constant being in the Word and seeking
Yeah.
God and His? I mean,
Absolutely.
those are we should, regardless of ministry,
That's what we should
as
strive for
men,
anyway.
we should. Those are questions we should be asking ourselves.
I was talking to a guy this past Sunday, visited church. Me and him hit it off. Good dude. Hopefully he keeps coming.
Yeah.
But he said, man, being biblically masculine is different from being manly.
Oh, yeah.
Because the emphasis is not being manly.
Yeah.
You can look at manly men, right?
Sure.
And
Yeah.
our perception is so jacked up because we have the Yellowstones and we have the Tulsa Kings and we have the John Waynes and we have like you can pull the Chuck Norrises,
Fleshly versions of what
right?
manly
We
looks
have
like. Yeah.
what media has shown us is manly,
Yes. Yeah.
and you know,
Well, not even that. I mean, you can go all the way. I mean, good grief, Israel's first king. They're like, but that guy's tall.
yeah. He's manly.
Get him. He should lead us.
He's got big muscles.
He's taller than everybody.
Yeah. Bro, I mean, hey, it is what it is.
But yeah, it's in us though.
Me being a guy who is like, height doesn't matter to me. It's like, I probably would look at him and be like,
that's what we're going.
I'm gonna get outvoted with this, but like, hot take.
Hot take. Saul's not that great.
Saul's gonna fail. Miserably, and like,
he's got a weird temper.
Yeah,
a little insecure.
Yeah, even though he's tall.
Yeah.
What's wrong with him? He has tall man syndrome. You're supposed to get that when you're short.
Yeah.
Bro, I bet his truck was bigger than yours.
Big chariot. Bigger than a bear.
Yeah. Bro, your truck is bigger than a bear. I'm telling you.
Yes, it is.
Look, hot take. Grizzly bear is bigger or smaller than Jeremiah's truck. Anyway.
Bigger or smaller, one or the other.
Jeremiah said it's 10 grizzly bears. That's what he said.
That's what Google said.
Oh, well, I argue with Google. But anyway, like, it's true. So, but being biblically masculine.
Yeah.
Godly.
Yeah.
That's what being a man is like. Mm-hmm. Because, look, when you get down to when it talks about husbands or leaders or anything, and it's specifically talking about men.
Yeah.
It's telling you to do it the same way that Jesus did.
Yeah.
You want to talk about manly? Learn what sacrifice is.
Yeah.
You want to talk about manly? Learn what not being about yourself is. Right? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
And hey, if you want to figure out how to be one of those type of people, like as a biblical masculine guy, like you want to figure out how to have daughters.
Man, I've said for a long, every man needs a daughter.
Yeah.
Like, you really
listen, I got a lot of them.
Yeah. I mean, and listen, God knows exactly what he's doing, right?
He does.
You know, if you don't have daughters I didn't grow up with any sisters.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, who I was pre-Mackenzie
changes.
And who I didn't know that I was capable of a certain kind of love until she was present in my life.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and it does. It changes who you are. It changes your. On the same hand, though, when my son was born, a massive shift happened. Like, I realized that I'm now responsible for a legacy in a young man.
Yep.
Talk about pressure.
It's a lot.
But it should be.
But what kind of, like, hey, right here it is. Discipline and instruction in the Lord. The discipline is following through.
Yeah.
Instruction. Discipline is about what you're following.
Mm-hmm.
You got to follow the right instructions.
And that's
right
where you end up having integrity. Husbands. And that's what,
Yeah, husbands, do that. This is what I tell in premarital counseling all the time. Husbands, show your wives what it's like. That way, if you ever, for whatever reason, man, you set the bar so high that if anything ever happened to you, you could be like, out of here in heaven, and your wife's like, man, he set the bar so high, I don't want another one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not that that's a feasible thought for anybody, but like.
But what if that's the bar you were setting?
As dads, man, be the dad.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that you want it.
Right.
Be like, and here's the reality. I'm not going to make it to every event for all of my kids. I'm not going to. I can't.
It's heavy. Yeah.
And it's a reality that I know because of the nature of the calling.
Yeah, and just life. I mean, that is
I'm not going to make it to
a reality you have to embrace.
However, I'm going to be aware.
Yeah.
And I'm going to know. I'm going to know what you like. I'm going to know what you don't like. I'm going to listen to you. You know, I'm going to teach you the way that I know how to teach you, which is only in Scripture.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna push you to the Lord, and we'll push you. I'm gonna present the Lord to you.
Right.
But I'm gonna do that more than just by reading Scripture and trying to pound it into you.
Yeah.
No. Being biblically masculine or being a biblical leader. Let's just talk about being a biblical leader for your family.
Yeah.
Can be a man or a woman at this point. Being a biblical leader is showing them grace.
Yeah.
It's showing them mercy.
Yeah.
It's showing them there is loving correction. It's showing them at the end of the day, and I tell people this all the time, when it comes to what we do as pastors, because we get a lot of questions. how do y'all do this? How do you deal with people? How do you deal with this?
What are we doing?
Look, what are we doing? At the end of the day, people do not care what you know.
No.
They don't care what you know.
No, man. Like
they care what you show.
Yeah.
And I've said that you heard me say that to a big group of youth pastors one time. They don't care what you know. They care what you show.
Yeah.
And that's something Jesus showed people love much faster than he showed them what he knew. Think about the woman at the well. He showed this lady love by talking to her.
Yep. Treating her like a person.
Treating her like a person. Didn't treat her like an outcast or whatever you want to call
down upon her.
No.
Yeah.
He said, if you knew who was asking you, you would ask me for a drink. Jesus showed her a type of love that changed her life.
Yeah. And ultimately, when we've preached this the whole last year, that's the church that we want to be. And that's the community we want to have.
That's who we are.
Right? That's the good news people thing, is people that are just constantly just sharing who Jesus is by their lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's that undeniable faith that you look at somebody and say, I don't know, but that one's different.
Yep.
What's the deal? That's what it should look, and it should start at home.
Right. It should, very much so. But that's being disciplined. Yeah. Right?
Yep.
That's being trained in instruction. And it's got to come from the Lord. Not from there's a lot of directions I could go with this.
Absolutely.
But
literally anywhere else.
It's got to come from the Lord.
Yep.
Right? And the only way to know that is to, know the Lord.
Yeah.
Be in his word. I said it on Sunday. You want to know how to be a good dad? It's right here.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know how to be a good husband? It's right here. You want to know how to be a good wife? I'm not a lady. You're not a lady, but ladies that are listening, it's right here. You want to know how to be a good child?
Yeah, good
parent,
son, good daughter,
like a good son, good daughter.
Sibling. Yep, good worker.
Right here,
whoever you are. Yeah.
You want to know any question that you have? Literally, it's right here.
Yeah.
You want to know how to recover from mistakes that you've made? It's right here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're promised that if we look for it, he's going to reveal it to us.
Yep. Absolutely.
And that's the beauty, but you've got to know where to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we talked about a lot of stuff. Right. Don't be the hawk that goes in front of a truck. Right?
Yeah. It's actually, we are that all the time.
We are.
Try to take on, what are you doing?
No.
What are we doing?
Get on the truck and let the truck take you.
Yeah. Don't try to take on stuff that you're not built to handle.
Literally, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Right.
Man.
Well,
you can't attack.
Not to.
I don't want to eat an elephant.
I don't like
either.
Asian food. Remember?
That's right. Is that Asian?
There are Asian elephants.
Okay.
And
how do you eat bananas? One bite at a time, then.
Yeah.
You like
any
bananas?
of them. Steak, chicken. You still one bite. One bite is good.
You're going meat. I went fruit.
You went elephant.
Well, that's true. But the reality is, if the way that you attack anything in life, right? You have to do it in healthy ways.
Yeah.
One step at a time.
One step at a time.
You're never going to instantly be somewhere, right?
Yeah. No.
Spiritually healthy, you're never going to be instantly spiritually healthy.
Comes from being disciplined.
Constant routine.
Practice, yeah.
Right. We talking about practice. We're not talking about the game.
Right.
We talking about practice.
But that is how you're ready for the game.
Right.
You practice spiritual discipline daily. When game situations come, you're ready.
They come.
You know. God's already spoken to you about what this should be.
And the reality is, the game that we are in, it never stops.
Yeah.
So you are constantly in the game while you're practicing.
Yeah. It's a fun world to live in.
Holy moly.
It's a good world to live in.
Man.
And that's why, we've talked a lot about, we've said lots of things about ministry can be tough and difficult and demanding, all those things.
Yeah.
That right there, though, is why it's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing like it. There's nothing more valuable than it. And there's nothing more rewarding than it.
Yep.
Than seeing God's kingdom grow, than people come to know him, than seeing them grow spiritually, healthy, all those things.
Yeah.
All those things are so incredibly invigorating and satisfying.
Oh, absolutely.
And exciting. And so,
bro, for me, there's nothing better than when somebody receives Christ as their
absolutely
Savior.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And
And the life change that happens.
That's the evangelist inside of me, right?
Yeah.
Like that before everything, I'm an evangelist, and I want more people. I've always said this, more people to the party is better.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's something from before Christ that I've carried into my life now. I want as many people. Who would we be? Right. And this is going to be a topic we talk about one day. Who would we be if we knew Christ but never shared him? We have the greatest gift in the world.
Yep.
And we don't want to talk about it. No, what we want to talk about is the good old days that glorify sin nature. And then but I got saved and everything is good now. Well, it sounded like you kept saying the good old days.
Yeah.
No. You a new Listen, I'm about to go off, but I'm not going to.
That'll be another time.
That'll be another time. I might just preach that message. But, man, I get so jacked up when we do baptisms and people come to know Christ. When people accept Christ, and they're like, man, this just changes my life. Now it's time to start growing.
Yep.
Hey, there's going to be some instruction. There's going to be some things that you got to be disciplined in.
Yeah.
You want to be spiritually healthy, you got to go to the spiritual gym. Spiritual gym right here.
Yeah. And it starts with, and you need to desire that.
Yeah.
Spiritual health is something you should absolutely be desiring and pursuing. It's quite honestly, it's the only pursuit really worth pursuing. Everything else will fade. Everything else will burn away. Everything else will be destroyed. Yep. Only God's kingdom remains.
That's it.
And so, what do we do?
Yeah, absolutely.
Chasing
what
after
are we doing?
Jesus.
We're chasing Jesus. That's what we'll always do.
Yeah.
Hopefully you glean something from this conversation today. But here's my question. What are you doing?
Ooh.
We'll see you then.